Hi guys, and welcome back to Classic Clarks, the home of culturing classic femininity. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make my cherry and strawberry compote. I usually use this on my sourdough einkorn pancakes recipe, so if you haven't checked that out, I suggest you go and have a look at that post. You can also use this on things like yogurt, kefir, or anything like that, so let's get started. As usual, the recipe link will be in the description box below at my website www.classicclarks.com. So the first thing I do is grab my frozen cherries from the freezer and I measure them out. This recipe is very versatile and adaptable, so you can use fresh cherries, but you may have to adapt the cooking times and the corn flour put in this recipe. You can see my full recipe link in the description box below to see the different adaptations you can make. So I pop the cherries into the inner pot from the Instant Pot. And then the next stage is to prepare your strawberries. So I use 1 punnet of strawberries here. And they look super fresh and delicious. So I take them over to the sink and I use my veggie wash, which helps eliminate any pesticides because these are non-organic strawberries. And as you can see, I'm just running the tap to get the water cold, and then as I put the water in, the veggie wash kind of makes the water bubble up nicely. And what I do is I leave this to soak in the sink for a couple of minutes, just give it a bit of agitation and then let it soak. Then I drain the water off, and after this we're going to give it lots of good rinses because, as you can see, the bubbles tend to stick to whatever produce you're washing, so you have to rinse this many times to make sure that there's no veggie wash remaining. So these are my washed strawberries and they look so beautiful and vibrant. Here I'm chopping off the green stems and I'm quartering the strawberries. If they're particularly small strawberries, I'm sometimes just halving them, but you'll want to do this with all of your strawberries to make sure that they break down during the cooking process. Now you're going to add the strawberries in with the cherries in the inner pot from your Instant Pot. This number of strawberries made about 3 cups worth. But I kept back half a cup to add in later for extra texture. I usually recommend that you keep behind about half a cup to a full cup. The next stage is to add the lemon juice. I used pre-prepared lemon juice from the supermarket, but you can also use freshly squeezed lemon juice, which would be delicious. I used 1 tablespoon in this recipe. You can also add in some lemon zest if you'd like to, which would add an extra zing. Madagascan vanilla extract helps bring extra sweetness to this recipe and adds an extra depth of flavour, which is beautiful to pair with the fruit. I used 2 teaspoons in this recipe. A pinch of sea salt helps counteract some of the sweetness in this recipe. And now to add the honey. So you're going to need 2 tablespoons. Once you've completed those steps, you can put the inner pot back into the Instant Pot and put the lid back on. Make sure the knob is set to the sealing function. Then you want to set it for manual for 1 minute on high pressure. Once it's reached full pressure, it will count down the 1 minute, and then it will start counting up on the keep warm setting. You want to do a natural pressure release for 10 minutes. So once the timer has reached 10 minutes on a natural pressure release, you can release the steam, and this will allow you to open the Instant Pot lid. You then want to reset the Instant Pot by pressing the off button, and then we're going to open the lid and have a look at our compote. This is what it should look like if you're using the exact same ingredients as me. So as you can see, it's still quite runny and watery and liquidy. So this will be the next stage of the cooking process to reduce this down a bit. And the fruit is still intact, so you just want to give it a stir and break down those fruits a bit, and then add your ½ cup to cup of strawberries that you kept back to add in at this point. So now is the time to saute, so press the saute button, and it should be on normal for 30 minutes. If your Instant Pot is like mine, that's fine, you can leave it on that setting. So you want to make sure you stir as it cooks to make sure that nothing sticks to the bottom and that everywhere is getting evenly heated. At this stage I add corn flour because I've used those frozen cherries. They release a lot of water during cooking. So in order to speed up this process, I use corn flour. However, if you use all fresh fruit, you may be able to skip this corn flour stage, and the saute may be enough by itself. I ended up adding about 3 teaspoons worth of corn flour, and I always dissolve this in water before I put it in, because corn flour has a tendency to stay lumpy in liquids otherwise. Test with a spoon as you go for thickness and also taste to make sure you don't need to add any more sugar for your liking. And eventually your compote should look something like this. As you can see, as I stir it, it takes a while for the liquid to settle back down, so you should have a stripe of metal where your spoon has been. At this point I decant the compote into my glass Tupperware so that it keeps well in the fridge for later. You want to wait for it to cool down before you store it in the fridge, so you can keep it on the countertop until that point is reached. This dish pairs perfectly with my sourdough einkorn pancakes, so if you want to check out that recipe you can, and I'll leave it in the description box below. As you can see, it's perfect to spoon over these pancakes and it spreads very, very well. Just remember that this compote will thicken up as it cools, so if it gets too thick for you and it's stored in the fridge, you can always reheat it or add a bit of water into it and it will do very well. If you're feeling extra decadent, you can also add some raw cream on top, which pairs fantastically with the two of these. So as you can see, this strawberry and cherry compote is really easy and simple. It's a great way of using up any spare fruit that's potentially going to waste in your house. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Thank you guys for watching, and take care, stay classic. Visit www.classicclarks.com for more recipes, and like and subscribe for more feminine content.